again, we are turning, and people say it and it sounds mean, but like Canada is becoming a third world country. We're just going to get this continuation of these third world mentalities coming to Canada.
I heard the banks are really starting to scrutinize as well when people are working like in manufacturing jobs, stuff like that, which is obvious because they're thinking, I mean, they've got enough risk. They keep increasing their loan loss provisions. Their stocks are under pressure. But yeah, they're starting to scrutinize people more based on where they work, which considering like the funny money during 2021 and 2022 when people weren't even paying their mortgage, this is kind of a stark turn. And I've even seen actually that on the Bank of Canada's website, loans have completely stalled out and now they're actually going backwards. So the amount of loans originated is actually going down, like for the first time.
I literally just got a message last week what you're talking about from one of the mortgage brokers I deal with, and he sent me a link, and it was like, it was one of the big banks. I think it was Bank of Montreal or somewhere. They're like literally stopping loaning to anyone in the auto manufacturing sector. They're not issuing mortgages to them anymore or something. Yeah, it is like they know, right? They know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, and think about how that impacts like businesses, any business that's related directly to that. There's got to be so many businesses, like even just couriers, logistics, all those different things that are related to the auto parts business and auto manufacturing that maybe they're not going to be getting lending. And so much of the lending in Canada, I don't think people realize this, has been lending for people to service their existing debt. Like it's almost like the government has been doing. They've learned from the best.
Yeah, well, that goes back to, so like most people that bought speculative purchases on the way up, houses, especially like I see them around here. So what they did was they would take a line of credit, a HELOC on their own house, their primary residence, wherever in GTA usually, and then they would use that as the down payment on a pre-construction. So that technically the pre-construction is fully financed. So yeah, the banks was literally lending them money so they can go get more loans with the money. It was just leveraging debt on debt. So like how many of those people like, and that's the thing, like some of them had made profit on other homes and flipped and kept doing this, but there were so many that just took that home equity line of credit. There's 100,000 or 150 for the next down payment on my next home or condo or whatever. And so yeah, they're like 100% financed, which is, and there's so much debt, upside down debt out there. Like people are just servicing this on these units they bought. They're not getting their rent covered and they're paying out monthly.
Picture this, it's launch day for a big campaign on your website and traffic starts to roll in. But what's happening with your website? It's crawling, it's slow, or worse, it's even down again. And then you try and reach out to support and you're stuck in an endless loop of AI chatbots and people who just don't know or understand WordPress. If that sounds even remotely familiar, it's time that you heard about Kinsta. Kinsta is managed hosting for WordPress for agencies, developers, and businesses who just can't afford to babysit their hosting. You've got speeds that boost SEO and conversion rates, but most importantly, when you need support, you'll have support from WordPress experts, not robots, not scripts, just help when you need it most. And they have a dashboard that actually makes sense. I especially like their analytics side of the dashboard, which is great for number crunching people like myself. From NASA to Screaming Frog to a coffee shop that went viral thanks to Gordon Ramsay. Over 120,000 businesses trust Kinsta. Try Kinsta today and get your first month free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in the description or just scan the QR code on screen for more information.
So much debt, upside down debt out there. Like people are just servicing this on these units they bought. They're not getting their rent covered and they're paying out monthly. And they've been doing this for years at this point. So this isn't like the interest rates are coming down now, right? So like they've been doing this, trying to ride this storm, and who knows where they're getting the money from. So
yeah, I mean, I saw on X like a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week actually, where it was somebody who posted like their landlord was trying to kick them out in Ontario again and saying that he was renovating the house. And yeah, like that. I mean, it's just, they're so screwed as well. I mean, would you really want to be a landlord in Ontario, even now with like everything that's happened over the pandemic, and then given the fact like more and more people are losing their jobs as
Oh,
well.
yeah. That's what people don't understand, that when you are a landlord, people lose their jobs, you're going to lose your income. So technically it's like you've lost a job, right? And then you have to
Yeah.
get them out, and there's still an overlap. Like it still takes, a couple months, even if they are decent tenants and they leave, and you have to re-rent it and paint it and whatever. So yeah, that a turnaround. And then the tenants now, because rents have come down, and you look at the rentals.ca thing. Actually, I think it just went up finally for the first time in like 18 months or something. It finally went up a little bit. They've come down. So like a $2,500 rental house around here would be, 2,300 now. So it's like 10% for sure. They've come down. At some point, you're going to get tenants that are sitting in like, I know of someone that rented a basement for 1,700, and now you can get a 2-bedroom basement for 1,500. They're going to sit there when their lease is up at some point this year, and they're going to say, I got a better opportunity here. And that landlord might incentivize them to come rent their basement unit instead. Talking about basement units, again, I got a lot of response on this one, and it wasn't really so much about the income, where the income was coming from. It was more about, I get a call, and this wasn't just like an odd call. I get these calls all the time because I have many rentals that are listed in my name for a management company we work with. And it was 2-bedroom basement. And I get a call from another agent, and they got 6 people, a family of 6 that like new to Canada, getting government subsidy funding from like Ontario Works and somewhere else. I can't remember the second source of income, but it was a subsidy from the government. Or they wanted to put again in a basement apartment. 6 people, 2 adults and kids from 11 to 17 years old. And they're like, don't worry. Like, the agent's trying to convince me. I'm like, I'm not making the decisions on this for one, but she's trying to convince me, don't worry. The Ontario Works is going to put the money directly in the landlord's bank every month. So you don't have to worry about the rent. And I'm like, no. There's 6 people. How many people? Like 6 people. I'm like, and this is, but again, $1,500. So you got these people coming to Canada, and like they were coming from these third world countries. And like that's the majority of our immigration now is from third world countries. And I just looked at the numbers. In 2015 we had 4 first world countries in the top 10 countries that immigrate here. There was 4 first world countries like UK, France, somewhere else, and even South Korea, which is first world country now. So there's 4 of them. And now in 2024 there was 1, France, and it was right at the bottom. And I heard a lot of people coming from France are like just coming through France with, you know what I mean, they're not even like French people. They're, because why would the French people want to move here? So yeah, they're just coming through on a French passport or whatever. Like they must be in shock when they see the price of everything in Canada. Like sure, you're getting handed thousands of dollars from this government, but they're like this is crazy. And what kind of a job are they getting? A lot of them are unskilled, especially the low or the low income migrants and stuff. Like they're like, what are they going to do? But they think they're going to go work at Walmart or something, and they'll never be able to afford a house. They're like living in a basement. And I guess if that's what they like, maybe it is an upgrade from where they're from. But again, we are turning, and people say it and it sounds mean, but like Canada is becoming a third world country. And then I thought, okay, so you have all this thing. And I just did a video on this garbage everywhere in Niagara, and it's brutal, right? And it's like, it bothered me so much, I had to make a video. And I'm like, this video is not for clicks. This video is to create awareness. I want you to tell people about it. So you have this like third world, and people are commenting and they're blaming certain people, right? So, which is whatever, which they can comment whatever they want. But people had also commented sincerely and said, look, I'm from a third world country, and this is like, we just throw our garbage like on the street. Like that's what we do. So this is like, so it doesn't, first of all, it doesn't bother a lot of people seeing it like this. But then secondly, you think about, okay, so you have all these people come, we're turning Canada into a third world country now, like the look of it and everything. We're not maintaining it. We can't maintain it properly. Who do you think any first world country people are going to want to come here anymore or immigrate here? They're not going to want to come to Canada. Like when I immigrated, it was like, Canada, let's go to, like, it's beautiful, right? But now it's like any first world country, you're getting downgraded into Canada. So like they're not going to come here. So now we're just going to get this continuation of these third world mentalities coming to Canada, and they're not integrating in, right? And it sounds mean, but it's the truth. But and I think that most people in Canada want a Canada that we used to have, but it's not. And the comments on this, another thing which is crazy. This is crazy. So I made this video, and the thumbnail is Canada is a garbage dump. Then I put a post on X talking about when I drove to Toronto, and I'm calling like this place a cesspool and this place a shithole. Okay, nobody like gave me death threats everyone agreed with me. That was a scary thing. I was like, I'm shocked. These people, like, usually, like, I did this. I'm like, I might have to take that one down, where I was like driving like through St. Catharines. I was saying blah, and then, Hamilton shithole. I said some places were nice, but then
Mhm.
Toronto, apocalyptic cesspool. This is what I put on there. Tons of views, like tons of people. And I'm waiting for the anger. And a couple people, like 2 people maybe. Everyone else agreed. I couldn't believe. I'm like, wait. We've come to a point where I literally call Canada a garbage dump and call all these places shitholes. The biggest city in Canada a cesspool, and nobody's like angry. So it's like, that's like how bad it is. Like 10 years ago,
Shows.
10 years ago, I would have been canceled. But now everyone just, because it's true, right? It's like, you got to, but I'm not giving up on Canada. I got to clean it up, right? That's what we talked about this, right? Where am I going to go?
Yeah, yeah. So you bring me on to a good
Yeah.
question there. Like, are you actually seeing a lot of people who are like, I'm cashing out my home equity and I'm leaving?
So yes, and you know what? I'm seeing it. So we started seeing a lot of these immigration services. Like last year when the immigration was through the roof, and the year before, like people had
Mhm.
signs in front of their house, immigration services. I'm like, what is this? Like, because they were just like
What?
coaching them how to get into Canada. I think I'm going to
Right.
start like an emigration service now, like for people leaving, like because it's like it's crazy. So I wrote the list here. So half my listings, people are leaving, which is crazy. And I just figured this out like the other day. I'm like, someone asked me the same question, and I was like, and then I thought, I'm like, half the freaking people I have listed right now are leaving Canada, which is crazy. So I got 8 listings, and 4 of them are leaving. So we got one going. I thought he was going to buy a van and drive around like the States and Canada and stuff, like, which is still leaving. He's just trying to leave from wherever, right? But no,
Yeah.
I guess my
Yeah.
assistant told me he's going back to Russia. He's a Russian guy. He's going back to Russia. Another one's going
Wow.
to the US for work. They have a good work opportunity there. They're like, see ya. Another one's going to Indonesia to quit his job. Like, he's like, I'm done with this country. Like he's like a patriot too, right? He's like, I'm done. Married an Indonesian girl, and he's leaving. He's out of here. And another one, he's done with it also. He's just done working. He's older, and he's going to the Dominican Republic. So
Wow.
yeah, they're out of here. So I don't blame them. Like, I thought, where would I go? Because I know you moved away, right? And I said, where would I go? And it's a tough question because, well, for one, I'd have to do some sort of online work. I'll just, like I said at the beginning, I'll become a full-time YouTuber or something. I'd love to do that. Like, or just even
I
producing
always,
videos. I wouldn't want to bank on YouTube because they could like cut your money off all of a sudden one day. But like just
yeah.
a content creator, videographer or something, right? I'd love to do that full time. I just don't have the time to do it. I'm Irish. Is like, there is no way in hell I'm going to Ireland. Ireland's like worse. like Ireland's like the UK. Like, there's people that send their kids to the schools in these certain areas, and their kids, like, no one speaks English but their kid. Like, it's like crazy. Like, they've just flooded it with their immigration policies, their reckless globalist immigration policies.
Could you get an Irish passport though, and
Yeah,
then go anywhere in the EU?
yeah. My kids have the Irish passports and everything, right? But my wife doesn't. She'd have to live in Ireland for 3 years or whatever to qualify. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it's like, okay, where would I? But I wouldn't go. Like, well, if I was going to go to Europe, I'd probably go to like Hungary or something. Like, I don't even know. Like, where would you go? But I don't know. It's just Europe's okay, whatever. But it's still. I'm like, well, maybe somewhere warm. Like, well, for the States, forget about it. You can't get into the States anyway.
No.
Like, I'm thinking like Thailand, maybe, or Japan. Japan's pretty nice and clean over there. But I literally, I'd have to live like all the way across the world. Like, Thailand would be good. You get a place for like 150 grand or something. Like, beautiful
Yeah,
house.
that's really cheap. Like Vietnam is one of the places a lot of people put in the comments because I've done videos on leaving, and like it's mostly like Vietnam, Mexico, Dominican Republic, which you said where people are going. But the one thing I couldn't get off the stats was like still a lot of Canadians are moving to the UK. Like that always comes out as one of the top places people are emigrating. And I'm like, the UK is like just a downgrade on Canada. Like
Yeah.
it's no better. Like it's just different. It's in fact even worse. In fact, when I go back to the UK, I generally visit every year, and I just see how much it's falling further. And I'm just like, yeah, this is exactly what Canada is going to be in 5-10 years, because UK is like way ahead of Canada on migration. Like it's been going full crazy migration now for nearly over 2 decades.
Yeah, they've been bringing
Yeah.
in like 1 million people a year or something in that small little place, like the same as Canada. Like,
Yeah.
they're getting screwed royally. But like, we're at the point now where like Canadians, first world country, are like talking about emigrating to third world countries like Vietnam. like,
Yeah.
who would have ever thought like people would want to immigrate to Vietnam from Canada? Like it just that's
And that's a
like
communist country.
yeah,
It's
it's like
still
it's
a
terrible.
communist country.
Like it's a like beautiful like scenery and jungles and whatever else, but like that's how bad it is. Like people just want they just want out. They just I don't know. They feel there's no hope or something, and that's why we got the election coming up there. See my sign behind me here. You can't see it all. You can probably read what it says. And people get so angry. It's so vulgar, and they trash your truck, your trash, whatever and whatever. Well, I didn't go to university. What do you want? I'm just a dumb friggin' redneck in Niagara Falls. So I'd prefer to be that than some like elitist person from the Demolition Man. Where they walk around with like in this perfect utopian world where restaurant left is Taco Bell because everything else went under. So
Yeah.
I'm more like that Alberta, Western attitude, right? Blue collar. I
Yeah.
prefer to be out there, cutting down trees or doing something, right? That's
Yeah.
more my style than sitting hunched over in an office.
Yeah, I could never do that. One thing I think is really likely as well to happen if Mark Carney does actually get in, which will be like the end of Canada, in my opinion, is like Alberta will leave, Quebec will leave, and it'll all just fall apart. And then, maybe Canada will become the 51st state at that point.
Maybe
It'll be
I'll probably move.
decimated.
I thought about that. So first of all, yeah, what happens then, right? Because if he wins, there's going to be a lot of people leaving, like more than half these clients here. Then yeah, so then if Alberta, I'm going to go join Alberta. I'm going to go move out there if that's the case. At least we have an out. We'll get rid of Canada. I just send a message. I already know what I'm doing if Carney wins, and we talked to my wife. So I'm going to live the Canadian dream. I'm going to get some sort of social support. I'm just going to join the system, man. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I dread to think really what'll happen, but you never know. Trump may redraw the borderline, and because it's not straight across Ontario, it might include. Well, he might go. Actually, we don't want Toronto and
no, we don't want
Brampton
that.
and all those places.
No, they
And
can.
yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, no, it is kind of funny. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are just looking for the door, and I think the thing is, right now, people can still get out of the housing market with a shitload of equity, and that's one of the things that's powering this. But really, what happens when in 2-3 years, like a lot of that equity's gone, the dollar is even shittier than it is right now, and then people are like, where can I go?
Yeah, there's a big shift with everything. Even the snowbirds, they're selling off their properties, right? In Florida and wherever else. Because that's another issue. They have to like after a month, they have to like check in with the government now and they're pissed about it, right? There's like like 30 days, or you could get charged with like a misdemeanor or something, right? If you don't actually like fill out the form. And that Canadians were exempt from that, right? Up until now. So yeah, you're seeing this big shift. So maybe we could do like a share, like a timeshare thing or a housing swap with some of the boomers, the snowbirds that bought in Florida, and we can like live down there for 6 months or something. Who knows? Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely changing the whole dynamics of like everything Canada and the US, and it will blow over like for sure. It was funny. I just watched, and I recommend everyone to watch this movie. I think it's on Netflix or Amazon Video or something. I think it's the Amazon Video. It's Canadian Bacon. They gotta rewatch. If you've seen it, rewatch it. It is like exactly what's happening now, but it's like this comedic movie, right? And it's hilarious, and it's like it's all based like in Niagara too, right? And they're talking, and they flip the power off too, right? John Candy or whatever. Like he turns the power off for Canada instead of the opposite way, like we were threatened to. But it's hilarious. You gotta watch it. You'll just die, or it's so real, like what's happening compared to then, right? It's insane.
Yeah, that was really like a point of tension when Doug Ford went on there and he's like, "Yeah, we might just flip off the power." I was like, "Holy shit, this really could turn into a war."
People don't understand with these Ontario conservatives. They're not conservative. They're PCs, right? They're
Yeah.
progressive. Like the Conservative Party of Canada is, not PC. They're conservative. I don't know at one point were they PC, but yeah. So don't. I think everyone calls Doug a liberal. Well, yeah, he's a progressive, right? Like, what do you want?
It's funny actually because like PC also means politically correct, which also goes for that group of people as well.
Protective custody. This means a lot of things. Actually, I was watching some cop show
Yeah,
the other day.
yeah, that's
Probable
true.
cause. This is PC. He was using it. You just, I got PC. You have drugs on you, and it was probable cause. Yeah. But you know what? Everything is like the world is so backwards right now. It's crazy. So you have Pierre Poilievre saying we're for the working people. Like the conservatives are supposed to be for big corporations, and the liberals still like point the fingers like they are, but they're not. They're like, we want the working people, we want the paychecks in your hands. And then the liberals are for the big corporations. They literally just hired the freaking, the chair of like a huge corporation to run the country. And he's like, but I was thinking, yeah, I got to get one of those offshore accounts like he does too. That seems like a good idea. Yeah, all the Bermuda. Yeah, I guess they got all they set up the office over there so they could, collect all so they don't have to pay taxes over there, and then they just funnel the money through there, right? So I'm thinking, like, can I set? My problem is they make the laws, so my real estate brokerage needs to be registered in Ontario. I can't. I wish I could register it in Bermuda.
Wow, yeah. I think on a Canadian passport, you can go live in Bermuda for like 12 months on the nomad visa. That's something I was looking into recently after Bermuda came up with Carney. So the condo market right now, going back to that, like, how is that performing? Because I've seen like all these articles, I've seen like the sales, the inventory is absolutely exploding. And this was like the most speculative component of the housing market over the past 5 years. So are you starting to see as well, because you probably got a lot of new developments in your area, because I can imagine it was a place where speculation was rife, where these building companies are stalling out on the construction sites?
Oh yeah, like everything's stalled around here. So for one, we don't have a lot of like high-rise condos in my region. So I'm not a condo expert by any means. We have like, there's like 10 condo buildings in the whole city. Like there's hardly, and they're like 3 stories high. So but from what I've heard, like the condos and the pre-construction, it's like dead. Like the market's dead, because you can watch the guys in Toronto when they talk about it. But as for the builders, a lot of them are building like townhouses, and some of them are condos, some of them are freehold. But it was the townhouses around here. So I listed this one house, and they have a whole development behind, and nothing has been built. Like they've been trying to sell them. I get the emails. So nothing's selling from the new builders, and they're just sitting there. So these fields will be mud for years, and the services are all in, but they're just, who's going to buy? Like who's going to pay $900,000 for a townhouse in Niagara? Like, and it's not a luxury townhouse. It's just like a regular 15 or 1,800 square foot. So, and what they've done is they started sticking units. So the one they're saying there's 3 units and there's one townhouse, and the townhouse again is like 1,800 square foot, 2-story. So they have like, you walk in the main floor, and the main floor is like a 1-bedroom. You need to go up the stairs to a 2-bedroom, and then they made the basement, rear entrance, another bedroom or another apartment. So there's 3 units in a townhouse, right? And this is what the builder's trying to sell, because they need to justify the price, because they paid so much for the land and whatever else. So yeah, but they're not selling any. They're just, whatever was built is sitting there. They have some models, and they're just not selling. So lots of signs around from like condo developments like coming soon, but there's nothing. Like they haven't even launched, because they know everyone's trying to wait it out, right? You look at the land sales. So there's a lot of land for sale, whether it's big parcels, small parcels. It doesn't matter, but people overpaid for them, so they're trying to unload them. So they're all builders and developers that are selling these land. Like they would have bought them from, the farmer or some old person or whatever. Like they would have got these parcels of land, maybe had a house on it, and they knocked it down and put in their blueprints and their plan of subdivision. And they're flipping land. A lot of people flip land too, right? The city had talked about like, your building permits now, they're going to expire. Like people would so they would go develop this parcel of land with no intention of building, pay $500,000 for this parcel, put another 100,000 or so into it, plans, and get the permits from the city, and they would never do it. And these permits would just sit on the books, because then they would list it for 1.5 million or whatever, right? Whatever the scale was. So like I saw one that they bought all these lots down near the tourist area for like $4 million, and there's still like businesses on these, but they have it for 8 million now, and they have like images of 2 towers, like renderings of these 2 condo towers, and they're like already approved or whatever. Like, but the cities now is saying like, we're going to start putting expiries on these permits, because no one had intentions of building most of these places. And then we have holes in the ground. I did a video on the one. There's like holes in the ground from like this one condo building. It was supposed to be like the biggest condo building in Canada or something, like right in prime time. And they literally just got the hole dug, and they went bankrupt. And then there's another one in like Chippewa. It's a small like suburb of Niagara Falls. And this one's been there for years though, because they were going to build a condo building. Like there's a river right beside it, and then they dug the basement, and the water just like comes in the basement because it's lower than the river. Like, so it's been sitting there for years. So you have a lot of it looks like Detroit, like all these abandoned buildings, but there's no buildings. It's just abandoned lots, field and mud and garbage blowing into them. There's garbage everywhere, because, and I'm sure, and I said it on on my
The
video,
hell?
they'll say, "Well, they're gonna develop that land." No, they're not. They hope they could develop it, but they're not going to develop it anytime soon. So you have all these mud lots with garbage piling up on them, and these are commercial, residential. It doesn't matter. My bank's a perfect example. They got it's right at a busy corner. It's Royal Bank, and they're the only business, but they're building to suit the developer, right? It's commercial. So the rest, so you have this bank, and the rest is like just surrounded by mud and garbage. And then sometimes once in a while they'll take heavy equipment and they'll rake the mud out, right, to make it look good. But like no one's building it. I mean, they have like a construction trailer, but it's been like that for years, and no one's building anything. If you want to walk to my bank, which I can walk, it's like a kilometer and a half away. So you cross this busy road, you cross the road. There's no sidewalks at my bank. So you cross onto the grass and you're like walking across the grass and there's flower beds. Like you cannot walk to this bank. You have to pull in with a car, right? Or else you're walking across grass or mud. And with the Canada, they say, we want to, public transit and all the Canada, most of Canada, these suburbs are not set up for public transit. Like they're set up to drive. So
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, yeah, they're all set up for the car, and that is an interesting point actually, because you bring me to Justin Trudeau's high-speed rail plan. Are you really looking forward to that? I think it was going to go to Niagara Falls, wasn't it, or was it just going to
no, I think it's
Toronto?
Toronto. I think it's Toronto. I did like the math on that, and not the construction math or anything, but just like the driving math, the time. And it's like from Toronto to thing in under 4 hours or 4.5 hours. I don't know. I can drive from Niagara Falls to Ottawa in like 5 hours. I can drive from here to Montreal in 6 hours. So from there, it's 5 hours. Would I prefer to be sitting in my car, making a stop wherever I want, or rent a car if I didn't have one? Or would I prefer to be on this high speed rail with like who knows who's on it? And like, no, I
Paying
prefer to drive.
$600.
I prefer to drive myself. And first of all, you have to get to the train station. So there's 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on where you live, right? Maybe it's 5 minutes, but most people, it's going to be 20 minutes to 30 minutes at least. Then when you get to Montreal, you have to take an Uber or taxi to get to wherever you're going at your final destination, which is going to be 20 minutes, half an hour. So there's another hour. So it's still almost the same amount of time to drive door to door than it is to take this high speed rail. So to me, the convenience factor, I'm about convenience. And I agree, like public transit's good, right? But Canada's not set up like, so people take the bus down here, the GO bus, and there's a GO train, but there is city buses, but they're so few and far between. It's just not realistic. You have to like get someone to pick you up or take a taxi or something or an Uber to get to your final destination. It's not made where you can just hop on like the tram or the, whatever it is, the TTC, and just get to the next stop. Like it's not like that in most cities in Canada, only the big cities, right? So it's nothing I'm that impressed with. If they want to impress me, like build like put a tunnel under Lake Ontario or something like that, that'll be cool, right? Like that's cool.
But that would be going to the US, so you can't
Well,
do that because
no, just
elbows.
just from like St. Catharines or like this side of Hamilton, because there's a huge, like there's 1 million people over here, like Hamilton and Niagara region. There's like at least 1 million. Hook it up to Toronto, so there it's super convenient. But instead of build it and they will come, bring them and then we'll build it. It's like the backwards way, right? So
look at the 401. I mean, the 401 was bad when I left in like, when did I leave Ontario? It was like 20. I don't even remember now. Fuck, it must be terrible now.
Oh my God, I have to go. So I got to go to Toronto like almost every week right now because I bought a boat up there and it was like, it's in Toronto. I got to bring it back, but it's sitting there for the winter and I got to drive there and the Garner is down to 2 lanes forever. And it's just, again, it looks like an apocalypse down there. All the concrete's been falling off underneath that Garner forever. And I don't even know what they're doing. And I have to drive like through like downtown to Jarvis and get off and go to the other side to where the boat yard is and the docks. And it's just a mess. And I'm just like, and the traffic, like it traps you in there. You cannot get out. Like, I just want to get out of the city. Like, nope, you're not getting out. You're sitting here and waiting for another hour. Even on a Sunday, like I'll go at certain times and it's hard to find a time when it's not. I don't know. It's bad.
Well, listen, John, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Have you got any final words of wisdom or advice for the viewers?
Yeah, I guess if you want to see Canada implode, you know who to vote for. I don't really like to tell people who to vote for, but like, yeah, there's going to be I think there's going to be angry people either way. But other than that, just, if you got a house, if you're thinking of selling a house, stop waiting and thinking prices are going to go up. They're clearly not anymore. Sell it. If you're buying, it depends on your situation. You might want to wait a little bit longer, I recommend you do. So that's about all I can say.
All right. Thank you so much, John. I want to give a shout out to Kinsta. Scan the QR code on screen or visit the links in the description and the pinned comment to learn more.